Welcome back to the channel. I'm Joe. As the mountain biking season comes to a close here in Iowa, I thought it would be a good time to share with you all what I've been riding all summer, so stay tuned. So this is a 2017 Norco Torrent 7.1 hardtail frame. I randomly found this on Facebook in my area late last summer, last fall, and picked it up. Smoking deal, super cheap, and didn't know if I was going to resell it or build it for myself. As you can see, I've built it for myself and thoroughly have enjoyed it. Viewers of the channel may remember that I was riding a Trek Roscoe 7 beforehand, knew I wanted to move up to something a little bit more aggressive, and kind of had an idea of what I wanted the parts on that build to be, and instead of keep throwing new, more expensive parts at that bike, I decided to pull off the stuff that I had already invested in it, put it back to stock, sold it, got a fair price for that. The guy I sold it to actually messaged me later after he bought it, said he was absolutely loving it. So went to a really good home, happy about that. So let's dig in a little bit deeper at the hodgepodge of parts that I have thrown at this bike over the last 6 months, and let me tell you my opinions about it. Let's go ahead and start at the front. It is a 27.5-inch bike. It actually started life as a plus bike with 2.8-inch tires. I've currently running Maxxis DHR, DHF combo in a 2.6. I had run the 2.6 rear on my Roscoe and absolutely loved that, so I went with 2.6 all around. Here, I think if I had to do it again, I would probably go to a 2.5. I can carry a little bit more speed, I think. I'm a little chunky in my old age, and it's slowing me down. I think a little bit skinnier tire would get a little bit more speed, maintain that speed, and still have enough sidewall, enough air in that tire to make up for not having a rear shock in the back, but just my thoughts. The fork. This originally came with a 150 mil fork, I believe. 140 or 150. This is a 150 Fox Performance 36. So it's like their mid-range-ish fork. I think that would have come factory on some bike. I found this on Pink Bike, got a really good deal on it. It's also a 2017 fork. The guy said he had just recently had it rebuilt. It's been really good for me. This will probably make it onto my next bike, my next build. The brakes, I am running 180 mil in the front, 160 mil in the back. That's what this bike would have come with. Originally, I have SRAM rotors, because I had a set of SRAM rotors already, but I am currently running Shimano XT brakes, 4-piston front, 2-piston rear. They're running the semi-metallic vented, the little vents on the pads, just what they came with from Shimano. Also have the Shimano brake levers. I had the really low end, the introductory, $60 brakes, Shimano brakes on my Trek that came with it. I really like those, no problems with those. So I figured I'd go with these. I really liked the ergonomics of the levers of the higher end Shimanos and how those feel. So I thought I'd give those a chance. One thing I don't like about these is the way the hose, the line hooks up to the caliper. It uses O-rings on the banjo fitting instead of like a car uses copper washers, and this is not so small that it couldn't use copper washers. It's just always a pain to take them apart. I never feel like they seal properly. I'm sure they do. It's just I don't really like it, or I don't hate it, I guess. Next build, I will probably go SRAM brakes. Wheels. I have a set of Bontrager carbon wheels. This build started with just a mismatched pair of, I had a WTB on the front and a race face arc on the rear that I picked one up used and the other one super cheap off eBay. I'm only running these because I had a buddy who was getting rid of them, gave me a good deal on them. Honestly, I don't notice any difference. I guess they're a little bit lighter. Supposedly they're supposed to be stiffer, I guess. I don't notice it. I was a little freaked out running them for the first few times. I was afraid I was going to break them. But, you know, they've been fine. And like I said, I think to buy a new set or a used set at actual what they're valued is pretty expensive. And I didn't have to pay that, thankfully. So that's what I have. I will probably keep these for the next bike build, and the other wheels will go back on. Cockpit setup, I have some Ergon GD1 grips. I really like these grips. I currently have some no-name aluminum bar ends on it because I skipped across too many trees because we have narrow trails here and chewed those all up. PNW bars, PNW stem. I do have the, like I said, the XT brake levers, some cheap knockoff Thai looking hardware on there, just because it looks cool, matches the bike aesthetic kind of a little bit. Love the PNW bars, love the PNW stem, pretty much a staple in the mountain biking community. Right now, real quick, we'll talk about the shifter before we talk about the rest of the drive. I am running right now a 12-speed SRAM drivetrain. I'm running the XO1 shifter in the front. I originally started this build with a Shimano, just a plain Dior drivetrain. It actually worked fantastic. It was super smooth. The only thing I didn't like the ergonomics at all. Did not like how the shifters lined up with my hands, especially how they lined up with my brake levers. I ran it on its own clamp. I ran it on its it's matchmaker for SRAM. I forget what Shimano calls it, where you can tie it into your brake lever clamp, and I hated the ergonomics of it. So I went to a SRAM drivetrain. I went with the XO1 because it gives you adjustability. You can loosen this little Allen screw here, and you can adjust this shifter to fit your hand, to fit your ergonomics where you want it. I like that a lot. For the seat, it's actually a Bontrager seat. It's the exact same seat that was on my Roscoe. My rear end was already used to it, so I went to Trek and I bought another one. It was actually even on sale. It was dirt cheap, so it is what it is. I have no complaints. You can watch a million videos and they'll say that you need to get a seat that matches your sit bones, and whether you're male, female, whatever, and then you can also watch as many videos saying that it doesn't matter. You just need to ride your bike so your rear end will get used to the seat, and I think that's probably where I'm at now. I have no complaints. I've ridden as many as 12 miles in one ride. I know that's not really that much, probably, in comparison to a lot of other riders, but for around here, that's a pretty good ride in one sit. On a mountain bike trail. So PNW dropper post, also PNW dropper lever, again pretty much staples. This is, I forget which version it is, but you can adjust the air pressure with air pump, so you can kind of control how fast or slow the seat post pops back up, and this one happens to have the little rubber thing that you can change the colors out on. I really couldn't care less about that. Let's go down here and take a look at my crank set. I am running GX cranks. This is the exact same, literally the exact same crank set that I had run on my Roscoe. I took it off and put it onto here. Absolute black 32 tooth. Narrow wide oval chainring. I love the oval chain rings. I definitely recommend that. The narrow wide, that's pretty much a standard these days. The 30 to 32 tooth, that's going to be kind of dependent on your personal preference and what your final drive is. I probably wouldn't notice 2 teeth either way, but it is what it is. Went ahead with, on this one, the 1-Up composite pedals. They've been fine, I'm sure. Like all the other major brand of composite pedals, they're all good. They all use sealed bearings these days, and pretty much all the same thing. Personal preference as far as looks, color, etc., etc. You may remember when I put these cranks on my Roscoe, I kind of had an issue with some of the pre-tension collar thing. This part right here, the part that's got the plus and the arrow, basically that has a sleeve that slides on to the crank, the part of the crank that goes through the, and that has threads on it, and it's not pressed fit or anything, it literally just slides on there. This one is from Cane Creek. It's made out of aluminum, thankfully, and it is way better than the plastic one that came on these SRAM cranks, and you literally have to glue that silver threaded ring onto the crank part. There's a special Loctite product, insert picture here, that you're supposed to glue it on. Why they don't machine these to just like have slightly smaller tolerance so you can just tap it on with like a polymer punch. And then, yes, when you screw it, so you put this outer sleeve on, you spin the sleeve, it puts tension on the bearing set so that you get rid of the slop in your cranks. And then there's another tiny Allen screw up there that you tighten down that keeps it from spinning on its threads. When you tighten that down, yes, it does put pressure on the whole thing to kind of keep it still, but I still think this is a stupid design, but apparently everyone uses it. SRAM, Shimano, Raceface, they all use it. Cane Creek, thankfully, makes a actual metal piece, not plastic piece, that goes with it, and I had no problems with it. It still irritates me though every time I look at it because I think it's such a stupid idea. SRAM, bottom bracket, sealed bearings, the matching set that goes with these cranks, and they've been flawless. I have no regrets about going with the GX cranks. They're lighter weight, they look good, and they've been excellent. Moving around back, again, like I said, Maxxis DHR. I have no idea what the sidewall is. XO, TR. I don't pay attention to any of that because I don't ride hard enough for it to matter what the sidewalls are, whether they're heavy or light. I found good used ones on Facebook, and there they are. And of course, yes, I'm running tubeless, Trail 1, valve stems. Forgot to mention that earlier. Nice lizard skin neoprene wrap on the chainstay. And for drivetrain, I decided to go with the matching SRAM GX. I decided to go with GX over NX because it uses sealed bearings on the guide wheels. It's not just a greased bolt going through there. And that's pretty much the main reason that I did that. I'm running a GX chain as well, and I can let me tell you one thing that I did that did legitimately make a difference for me, that I feel like if you're debating over NX, GX, go to GX. If you're going to spend the money on all that stuff, I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but save a little bit, do some more scouring on the used stuff, get a GX. The biggest difference that made for me on this bike was originally I was running those Raceface rear wheel with just the splined hub. I was running the NX cassette. The wheels, these carbon wheels, came with the HG, the SRAM driver, so of course I had to move up to a GX cassette. This is the 500%, not the 530% or whatever. It's missing 2 teeth. I will never notice that, and this was like a quarter of the price because I just watched for a good sale. This is so much stinking lighter than the NX cassette. So much lighter. it is insane. It is noticeable, and the weight helped with the weight distribution, the way the bike handled. I'm sure that the hub in this is better than the hub that was in that Race Face one. Even though I had that rebuilt, like I said, this wheel I don't think is negligibly, yep, I'm gonna go with that, lighter than the aluminum Race Face wheel. But this cassette is so much stinking lighter. I get so much more coasting ability out of this. I can carry my speed further and longer, and I genuinely think it's because that lightweight cassette is not bogging down the drivetrain when I'm coasting. So my biggest recommendation, if you are assembling your own bike, on the back, I feel like lighter is better, sealed bearings are better, and those are, I mean, that seems obvious, I guess, really, but having run some Shimano drivetrain, having had the lower end SRAM drivetrain with the NX cassette, this GX setup with the X01 shifter, I will probably carry this until I break it and get another one, because at this point the only step up is carbon stuff or Bluetooth stuff, which I have no need for at all, and I'm extremely happy with this. All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up. I have no idea how much I spent on this. I know it's way less money than if I would have bought a equally equipped bike, especially with the 4-piston front brakes, the GX drivetrain, the NX, or the X01 shifter, the PNW stuff, and obviously the carbon wheels, which are not a necessity. So what my plans are for the summer and into next year. I still have a ton of parts left over, so I think what I will do is do some swapping back onto this one. I'll probably get some other parts. Like I said, I want to go SRAM brakes on the next build, and I will build this as a very, very nice, extremely capable bike and sell it, and then use the proceeds from that, because it's going to be a lot easier to sell a whole bike than just a frame. My time is essentially free, you know, to assemble it, and then use the money from that to buy the couple parts that I will need for my new bike. And I'm trying to find a good used aluminum full suspension frame, something with relatively aggressive-ish head tube angle. I will say with this, I looked it up just now. This came originally with a 140 mil fork. That was something that I did notice on climbing. I did tend to pull the front of this up off the ground a little bit, mainly because I hate climbing and I usually sit as much as I can for it. So I did notice that, maybe if with a slightly more aggressive, I'm using that term loosely, full suspension next year, that can kind of solve that. I kind of want to go to a 29er. I have a set of 29-inch wheels sitting around. Maybe I'll do mullet setup. We have very, very rooty, lots of tree roots going across the trails where we live here, and I ride with a lot of guys that run 29er, and they just seem to bomb over that stuff a lot easier. So I think that might be the direction I'm going to go. I absolutely love riding a hardtail. You feel better than everyone else that you're riding with. I'm kidding, kind of, when you're riding a hardtail. But unfortunately, I don't get to ride enough where my body would be able to compensate adequately and build up a tolerance to riding a hardtail at my age, and it's starting to take a little bit of wear and tear. So I think I'm going to go to a full suspension, not because I have surpassed the bike's ability. It's just, yeah, it's time. So there is that. If you have any comments, questions, please feel free to leave those down below. Email me, hawkeyeskunkworks@gmail.com. I'll do my best to answer any questions I have, technical or preference, whatever it may be. So head on over to my Instagram and my Facebook. There's links down below for that. And until the next video drops, thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.